Some of you guys are sitting there like my dear friend Osu Motivator. You're just sitting around and you just got that itch to buy the latest and greatest Charger Sixpack cars because you're tired of seeing your last call cars losing tons of value, but you have no idea when the new Charger Sixpack cars will be available to order. But what if I told you I know exactly when you can order the brand new Charger, when deliveries will start, what engines you can get with certain trims, and you're about to learn about all this revelation is about to come right now. Okay, my over 49,000 friends and the 58% of you guys who watch these videos over and over again but have not hit the subscribe button, help a butter out to try and get my first milestone of 50,000 subscribers. I am less than 1,000 people away from reaching that first milestone. So help a butter out, join the channel, and let's get right into this situation with the actual Charger Sixpack cars.
Oh yeah, that wasn't the sound of the Fratsonic chamber in the Banshee. That was the scream of the most power-dense internal combustion engine Dodge has ever installed in a muscle car. In 2025, the all-new Charger will also be available as a six-pack with the twin-turbo Hurricane. Standard output hits the streets with 420 horsepower, and the HO spins the dyno to 550 horsepower. But these aren't old-school engines. No, these Hurricanes embody everything that we've learned about piston power since the doors of the Dodge Brothers shop first swung open. Twin turbos that perform like they're constantly spooled, and a driveline that houses an 8-speed transmission and an all-wheel drive system standard. But it's a Dodge, so we also let you turn it off and tear it up like a traditional rear-wheel drive muscle car. This is what a brand can build when you're always building on a promise to never lift.
Now that we got the stats out of the way for the Charger Sixpack cars, the high output version will be around 550 horsepower, then the standard output version will be around 420 horsepower. Now the question is, when can you go to a Dodge dealership, place your order, and when will these cars actually start being delivered? Because no one has a clear answer about this. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, according to my source, who basically told me, he was the same guy that kind of told me the same thing a few months ago about the Charger Daytona RT being canceled for 2026 model year, and then Dodge having to scramble and put a press release out about that. I'm going to tell you guys that right now, according to him, he expects in August they should be able to go to a Dodge dealership and place an order for a Charger Sixpack car. Now, according to him, from what he's been told, the deliveries are expected to start between the September and the October timeframe. So you should be able to, I'm assuming at the roadkill nights, you're going to be able to actually go and have like a presentation there, and then Matt McAleer probably going to tell you that, yeah, after roadkill nights, you better go to the Dodge dealership, actually place an order for your six-pack cars, and then be like, yeah, delivery is going to start within a month, right? So hopefully you better go to a dealership in August, you better go place an order, and then by Halloween, you'll have a six-pack inline six Hurricane powered Charger, which I know is going to satisfy OC Motivator and stuff. It has been quite funny watching him go to all different dealerships. He's been going to like Dodge dealerships, Chevy dealerships, Ford dealerships, trying to find his next daily driver because his six-pack, not a six-pack, but his Scat Pack vehicle, his last call special edition car, is not holding its value like all these other salesmen try to con you guys on during the last call campaign and stuff. So we try to tell you guys, don't feed into this hype that these cars are gonna be worth 10 times the amount of money within a couple of years. So just saying. And the next question in your mind is, which engines can you get in which Charger? Because if you guys remember, there are two Chargers, a 2-door Charger and a 4-door Charger. So which engines can you get in which Charger? Now, if you guys remember this chart that I released back in, I think like March, when my source leaked this to me and stuff, you can see on this chart that for 2026 model year, so far from what we can tell, that you're only able to get the 550 horsepower output Hurricane in the actual 2-door Charger only. And you only get the standard output, the 420 horsepower Hurricane engine, and only the 4-door. And this is for model year 2026. So far, this is how Dodge has this. 2-door, 550 horsepower, 4-door, 420 horsepower. And I'm assuming this is only for model year 2026. They kind of push people towards getting the actual 2-door car, and then maybe sometime next year, they're probably gonna unlock the engines for you can have whichever one. That way, if you want to have a sedan because you have a family, but you want to have over 500 horsepower, they probably allow you to do it next year. I don't get why Dodge is doing this. It shouldn't really matter, but I can see for a sales perspective, they're trying to push people into certain trims and certain engines in order to boost sales for the next couple of years. So that's how I see it from my front. So I'm just saying.
And then the HO version will be the 2-door only, and that'll be 550 horse, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive button, and kind of fall in between the lineup of performance of like the RT and the Scat Pack. So the Scat gets drift and donut, RT doesn't. The Scat also gets drag and track.
Now the clip that you just watched from Rich Rebuilds underlines a few points that I just made, right? That for the 2026 model year, you only able to get the high output Hurricane only in the 2-door model, and only get the 400 horsepower smaller output Hurricane in the 4-door model. But the next question is, the big glaring question is, can you actually disable all-wheel drive in the 4-door model that's going to have the 400 horsepower small output Hurricane? Because if you look at the EVs, the actual Charger Daytona Scat Pack, it can have the 2-wheel drive button on it, but not the actual RT. So would Dodge do the same thing for 2026 model year? If you buy the actual sedan, the 4-door version of the Charger, will you not be able to do donuts in that actual vehicle because they'll not let you disable the all-wheel drive system? So that's something that I hope that, Dodge maybe clarifies, or one of you journalists who are watching this video, can you guys clarify that there be ability for people who buy the Charger sedan to actually turn all-wheel drive off in that particular vehicle or not? So just saying.
RT right now is the start, and then Scat Pack is the top. And then pricing wise though, and I guess performance, when the 6-packs come out, the 6-pack SO, we have 420 horse, so that'll kind of be the entry 4-door.
Gotcha. Oh, that'll be price wise holding the RT?
Yeah, okay, yeah, so. And then the HO version will be the 2-door only, and that'll be 550 horse, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive button, and kind of fall in between the lineup of performance of like the RT and the Scat Pack.
Now the next question is going to boggle your mind.
What seems to be your boggle?
My boggle? How much these cars are going to cost? Because that's the one thing that Stellantis does not like to do. They don't like to tell you in advance how much vehicles are expected to cost. But if you listen to this conversation between Rich Rebuilds and the engineer, he kind of gives you like a general guideline of how much the 6-pack cars, the standard output and the high output is going to cost. So you listen to the first part. He said that the actual standard output is going to be the entry-level Charger, and it's going to be basically below the pricing of the RT Charger. So if you go look on Dodge's website, you'll see that the RT Charger is at $60,000. So we know that the standard output Hurricane 6-pack will be cheaper than that. Now, if Dodge calls the standard output Charger the GT, as we heard in the background, then I'm going to assume that it's going to be priced around the same as the Mustang GT prices. So my best guess for this car is going to be right around $50,000 starting off. It may be slightly higher since you have to remember you're locked into all-wheel drive and 4 doors. So that's more production costs for the actual GT Charger, but less horsepower than the actual Mustang GT, which I believe that vehicle has 480 horsepower and the Charger GT has 420 horsepower. So I'm thinking the 0 to 60 for the GT Charger will probably be around the 392s. Like low 4 seconds, 0 to 60 times. So maybe like 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, somewhere around there because of the all-wheel drive advantage that it'll have. But I still think it'll get smoked by a Mustang GT since that has a sub 4-second time on there. So I'm just saying. And me personally, I think that's why Dodge needs to introduce a Pentastar Charger. That way they can get some sales volumes back into actual Dodge with an entry-level Charger that's right in that $30,000 price range. I don't think these cars are going to sell that well because they are still way too expensive. Now, as far as the actual high output Charger goes, or the Outlaw, as it is possible, that car is going to be named that name as well too. I think the Outlaw will be between the RT and the Scat Pack EV as far as pricing goes. So I'm figuring somewhere in between $65,000 to $70,000 base price. Now, I think Dodge will again price it close to the Mustang, and this time the Dark Horse Mustang, and be around, my best guess, if I had to guess right now, $69,999 if I had to guess. Now, if you look at the Charger Outlaw as a whole, just step back and take a look at this, right? It is the exact same wheelbase as a Grand Cherokee extended version. So the longer Grand Cherokee, not the narrow one, the long one, the 3-row one, right? So it's way bigger than a Mustang. It has more horsepower than Mustang at 550 horsepower, while the Dark Horse Mustang only has 500 horsepower out the gate. Now, the Dark Horse right there, does not get all-wheel drive. So this actual Outlaw Charger gets standard all-wheel drive. And then you had to figure in tariff costs because the Charger is made in Canada at Windsor, and then you had an engine made in Mexico. So you literally have two places that America is not really being friendly with when it comes to tariffs. So I'm going to hope that with the actual 0 to 60 time of this Outlaw Charger, that I'm thinking that it's going to be maybe around 3.6 to maybe 4 seconds 0 to 60. Now, it is a huge car, and I don't know how much the all-wheel drive system will disguise the weight in that car. Now, I asked AI to research similar cars in terms of like all-wheel drive, horsepower, weight, and wheelbase, and this is basically what it gave me, that 3.6 to 4 seconds 0 to 60 time. Now, it would make sense for the car to be, you know, slower than the Scat Pack EV, since it has a full EV and it has, you know, that instant torque and stuff. So that quarter time, 3.3 seconds. So 3.6, 3.7, somewhere around there, it seems very realistic, and it won't necessarily step on the toes of the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. So technically Outlaw would basically be right around the same speed of maybe a Challenger and Charger Hellcat, and it's basically gonna be right around the same pricing, and it's gonna have a smaller engine but a worse sounding engine. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to keep it fair here, but that's basically what I got on this car, when you're gonna be able to buy it, some of the features gonna come in the car, and how much it's going to cost, and pretty much how fast it's going to be. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Are you guys pumped to wait for the actual 6-pack Chargers? Do you guys think they're fast enough? Are they too expensive? Are they close enough in performance to the Mustang and GT and Dark Horse? Or you think that Dodge should have did faster? I got another video coming because I heard that Dodge is going to make an even faster Hurricane Charger, but I'll say that for another video. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. And until the next time, you can watch this video right here. But until next time, I'm out.